Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Adventures. We're just installing we've just installed the K-on bracket, as you can see, and the Oricom antenna on the rear of the door. Now we're just going to go through how to run this, all this coax through into the vehicle. Another mod you might see in the area is the window tint. It's got a film on it, number 10. That was number 10 in case you missed it. Daniel from Tintmobile, if you're in Melbourne, northern suburbs or west. Awesome bloke, top job, value for money. Decades of experience, so hopefully you haven't got someone wrecking your car. Now with removing this trim, this is not a how to remove the trim video. Like I said, we've got one of those, but maybe it kind of is, because you know I can't help myself. So this is with the covers off. It's a one-way trip for that cover, because we're going to put the door cage in there, the storage cage from K-on. We're going to get rid of those straps because we don't use those for anything. They're just in the way. We'll get rid of those. When you pull the door shut, see here, it's a handle, so of course there's a screw there. I think I forgot to tell you about that. So there's one screw there, another screw there. That trim, I'm a fingernails kind of guy, and I like to, so pop the bottom of the trim off. It comes off pretty easy. The handle just sitting there loose until we put the screw back in the trim back later. Obviously this cover and the tool, that's where the tools are, that'll go back on. It's all just sitting there for the moment. Like I said, that's a one-way trip. See you later. And then the table will go on. We've got the table and the cage sitting there from the 2019 vehicle. So now you can see, don't get concerned with, oh, you see the bolts, oh, how do I get to the bolts? No, the bolts are in some little brackets underneath there. So now it's a matter of, like I said, the fingernails again, or if you've got the little special tools for removing trims, or you can even combination underneath the bottom and your other finger here to get a bit extra. You just want to pick one corner. I'm most likely going to start here at this corner and then go along the bottom or up. I'm just going to work each way, whatever comes the easiest, but can't hold the camera and do it, and you get the picture, and it's in another video. If you really want it, you can search it up. The people that don't know what I'm talking about, this is the rear table, okay? So the K-on rear table, K-on, and the rear cage. This is for the 150 Prado. Sorry, but the focus is not happening, is it? Right, there it is. This is the rear cage. It'll go on and all the screws. Now we're going to install this different to what, to the instructions, because the instructions show you how to mount these side brackets, and we've done all the testing. We put 30-40 kilos of water on the table. It's strong as anything, because these coarse thread screws, they just go into the plastic trim. You can put nuts and bolts if you want while you're doing this job I'm doing, but I've got it all off and I'm not even going to bother because it's tried and tested. If there was a problem and these ripped out for some reason because you had 50 kilos on there or 60, like you're sitting on it, then at a later date you could go ahead and upgrade, but there's just no need to at this stage. So we're going to have it already installed onto there, and we're just going to hold it up and go, yep, about there, and we're going to zip those in. And this could be an easier way, but it might not work out for me. But I'm the guinea pig. This is what we do. So maybe it's not a full demonstration, but I'm going to give you some info, right? I'm showing you the clip. See what I mean? So that one stayed behind. This one came out on the trim, as this one did. But that's not broken, right? You can see there. That's not broken. But sometimes they stay behind like that. That's the first one I pulled. Every other one, by the looks of it, we'll get it off in a minute. Can't see too much, it's dark in there, but every other one looks like it popped out. So look, this is what you can do. You can get a really blunt type screwdriver, nothing that's going to scratch. You can gently put it in between the trim, just a little bit to give yourself a few mil. Then you just need to get two hands and get your fingers and squeeze it in, and you just really, you've got to be gentle, but you've got to aggressively pull it, okay? Because these clips, they're really tight. So once you get one, and then you work this way, whichever way you want, right? All the way up to the top, all the way up to here. So you got 1, 2, 3 up the side you got to get out. And basically right now what I wanted to show you is this trim, right? It's just, sorry about the focus, I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, you can see it's just swinging there, it's loose. There's some clips in behind here as well from memory. There's a couple in the middle, but at the moment all that's holding it, it's about to fall off. It's just clipped. Literally, it's clipped onto this top side trim, which I'm going to put the camera down and just carefully unclip those, and the whole thing's going to come off. So we've got the trim off, and it's even hard to explain kind of like how these, how they trims clip into each other type thing. It's just, I don't really understand it. It's kind of a bit weird and crazy, but you'll figure it out, because I did. If I can, you can, okay? Especially, you know. So let's have a look at all the clips. That's the only one that didn't come out. We'll just pop that out. We'll grab some side cutters and get a grip, not cut it off, and we'll just gently pop it out. You can see, you can count them if you like, so you know how many you got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? That's it as far as I can work out. That must be where that bolt goes, is it? I'm not thinking too hard at the moment. You know, you can see your handle. We're going to get this plastic off in a minute, right? And get in. It's really, I've got to tell you, this is the next part of the bad news. There's like it's hard to get in behind here to where that clip is to release it. We're going to try and release that clip, but for the sake of a couple of bucks, it's not worth worrying about and stressing out for your time. If we need to, we'll butcher it out and discard it, and then if we ever need to refit the spare wheel cover, we just buy one from Toyota Parts for a couple of bucks. So, you know, the little clip, the bolt that holds it, blah, blah, blah. Right, so not a big deal. You can see your lock mechanism behind here, and you can't really see too much up in behind there at the moment, and I'm not pulling that side off. See this, brand new car, 700 Ks, and look at the amount of dust and dirt in there already. These things, they really need to have a seal around it, so something to think about if you don't want to have problems with that lock in the long term, because even at low Ks, people do have some problems with them. Anyway, we're going to get this clip out. Do I need to demonstrate? Mate, we're going to get these things. We're not cutting, right? We're not cutting. We just simply want to, I'm not used to these ones because these are a fresh pair. We just want to kind of go like that, pull it out, yeah? There it is. Oh, just like the other ones, didn't cut anything. No damage to the vehicle. Right now, some people might say, why don't you just use pointy nose pliers and they won't cut it? Yeah, but then you'll, look, because they're thicker, right? Let me zoom back a little bit, right? They're thicker. And when you put it in here, it's going to damage. See this clip? It's not damaged at all whatsoever, mate. So, always put your plastic trims and bumper bars down gently on some carpet or something soft, right? Now you can see this one here is missing a bit of the, so there's a little bit of felty stuff on those clips, right? So this is just, what I'm saying is sometimes these can break, right? If you break that, then you can re-glue it, but rarely does it happen. But you know, there's always a possibility, right? And see, that just clips in like that. You can see they're all, make sure they're all in position like that. They should be good. We're gonna go look for that bit of felt from that one. You can see all the others are looking pretty good. Now, oh, there's one missing there as well. Oh, that's sharp. Just touch that. Oh. You got to watch out for some sharp edges as always. We're going to go and look for the other two pieces of missing felt. Pretty boring. 1, 2. Now when you get your vehicle worked on by someone and they do this for you, who believes that they'd even bother to take notice or look if those things were missing or find them or refit them? Anyway, I'm getting off camera. I'm going to fix those up nicely. You get what I mean? If you want it done properly, you got to do it yourself. That's why we're here to help you. Okay, sometimes getting this plastic off, they can be hard to get started, but what I like to do is once you get it started, try and keep it on the plastic and peel it back clean where you can. You're going to get a few little bits like that, whatever. But once you get it started, just hold it onto the plastic is the best way. This comes off clean, it'll just usually re-stick back on. Bada bing. Now let's remind ourselves what we're actually doing here. Hey, remember there's some earths and stuff in the door. There's earths all over the vehicle, earthing out wiring looms and wiring for the vehicle. Bada bing. Let's go outside and have a look at this clip that we're going to try and remove. It's up in here somewhere. Okay, so we've got our antenna here and it's got to go through that hole where that clip is. So we want to get that clip out. So it's about 5 inches down from the top of the window, straight about there. We'll go back on the inside. There's our coax there. I think it was pretty close to that, but so it's about here somewhere, right? Probably right behind that circle there. So let's have a look and see if we can see. No, it's not there. There it is. There it is. Not too far away. There it is through the hole even there. Right. So what do we got to do? See the little wing on the side there? It's got one on each side. You got to somehow get your fingers or your tools up, and it might look easy, but it's at the end of my fingers with the up yours fingers, and try and squeeze and a little screwdriver. And look, I think we'll get it out. We're going to spend a few minutes to do so. I'll let you know how we go. If we crack it, then we're going to go on the outside with a screwdriver and just rip it out, butcher it out like the butchers do. We don't mind, it's just a clip, because as I said, I'm trying to help you here for a couple of bucks, even if it was 10 bucks. Sometimes some of these things aren't worth the time or the hassle. Do your head in type thing. So anyway, I'll let you know how we go with this one. We've got the light in there and a couple of special tools. And at the moment, we've released the back side of it, which you can't see from here. As you can see from here, one side popped out. Now we've got to be careful that doesn't pop in. So we've got to keep enough pressure on the center of the clip, so this end doesn't go in while we press to release the lug at that side, but not putting too much pressure so this doesn't go in, otherwise we won't be able to release the lug at that side. So it's pretty hard. And you know what? Not worth it probably, but I'll let you know. And when you're good, you're good. And whatever you do, don't forget and leave your light in the door, like I did once. Well, either someone stole it, you know, apprentices, or I left it in the door. And you can see we've pushed our grommet. It's not a very good one. It was hard to get the right size because of the size of the hole, and you're putting a round grommet into a square hole and whatever. So there's a bit of gap around it, but most of anything's not going to get in there. And what we will do is, once we're all done and happy, and there's a couple little things, we'll stick the coax down like so. And once we're happy, we'll put a little bit of silicone in there just to 100% seal it up. Even though if it's not sealed, it's going to be literally a couple of drips of water or dust or whatever. You're going to get more than that in there anyway, most likely. So this video is actually going to be handy for anyone with a four-wheel drive, not just Prados, that wants to run wires through a door, whatever, to give you the general idea. So I've got this coax Oricom antenna. They come with a pre-fitted, and it's a screw-on fitting, so it's small, but I tape it up so none of it gets damaged, sort of thing. Not that it would get damaged, but you know, it's prevention. Prevention is better than cure. So there's no need to do too much more outside the door trim at this stage. We'll fix all that up later once we work out how much length we've got, because we want to get as much as we can into the car. We're probably going to do something like zip tie that there, but we're not going to do it at the moment. We need to get it into the vehicle, and that's what this boot's for, right? I'm going to take you in there. I better turn the light on. There we are. Isn't that better? Now I'm just going to turn you sideways to get you in there. All right, see that duct there? Right, now you're going to go alongside the wiring. So it's just it's pretty cool. It's really simple, right? You can literally, you know, you can stick your finger in along the side there. That wire, it'll just push. There's space in the boot. There's actually, look, you know, let me demonstrate. See that I'm squeezing that side there. There's space at that side. The wiring that's in there is quite small. There's room for more. Okay, so what we need to do next, the next step is get. We don't have to pull this whole trim off, but we need to pull it back a little bit. And from memory, it's something like, I'm going to bust something here. There you go. Which way? See? Well, it wasn't. See, notice I went a little bit anti-clockwise, and I went, there's something funny about this. So bang, clockwise, and it comes straight off. And you can see your Phillips head in there. We're going to get that out. And I don't believe there's any other fixings. We'll probably pull this seal out or something like that, but we'll make it up as we go, because these get messy as well. Check this out, right? Maybe. Anyway, let's see. Maybe. Because there's a greasy sealant type thing underneath there as well. See that stuff? So we don't want to muck around. So it's going to be hard to video this part as well, once again. So it's generally just pull the seal back, get that screw out, pop the trim out just enough to get your hand in between the trim, and gently feed the wire out. And at the moment, then I'm going to bring it down underneath the bottom of the trim. It's just going to be around here for somewhere, and we'll work out, you know, the rest of it. Not a big deal. The hard part's this. There's a heap of information in this. Removing the trim, running the wire through. If you want to run electrical wires, you can have your roll of wire and just feed it through that way. Take as much as you need. If your power box is at this side or underneath this trim here, over to that side, whatever you want it to do, and then you could feed it out that way. So very easy to get that wire through there as well. The hard part is, obviously with the aerial, getting that clip out, but it wasn't too hard. The hard part is getting the trim off, because you're nervous. So hopefully it just comes off. It's not a big deal, okay? And it's a little bit fiddly when you go to put it back on, hooking it under these clips, but it's not hard. It's just fiddly till it pops in place. And all the Toyota trims, they're really good quality, and generally they don't break, okay? So we're going to get this screw out, pop the side trim out. Okay, so I've started feeding the wire through. From memory, sometimes what you need to do, you just pop the grommet out at this end as all that in, whatever the case may be. Now remember, be careful of this greasy stuff. Try not to wipe it off, because see, it does get a bit, you bump it around a bit, makes a bit of mess, but the idea is it's meant to be on here. It helps prevent rust and seal it up and all that sort of thing. It is grease. Now to get this trim out far enough, you can see all the clips, right? Similar to before, right? At the top, these ones here, they just see I even got a bit of grease on my hand and they clean all that up later. Oh, where are we? I don't know. Somewhere there. See, it gets all over the joint. Anyway, those clips, they just pop in the top there. If you ever want to store anything, look at all the space in there. It's ridiculous. Heaps of wasted space could be used. Anyway, the point is, I don't need to take this trim right off. Pop this bottom one up a bit as well, right? It's all just clips. Gently pop everything up. These side clips, same as the ones from before, right? Just make sure they're all in position still. Are we missing one? Did we drop one? One might have fallen. Oh, that's no good. Look at that. Or is it? No, that's the one that bolts in. Had me fooled. Right, so that's the bolt that we took out, remember? All right, easy. So those two clips, they just pull out, and you can get your hand in here enough, just to get your hand in to get to the back of that grommet, to pull the wire through, you know, that duct there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep feeding it through. Whatever you got to do. Like I said, I remember in the past I've sometimes removed these. These come off pretty easy. I'm not sure which end, but later in the video I'll let you know as I figure it out. Okay, so the wire goes in there. We've popped the grommet out. And here's the wire coming out, and there's just a loop, don't worry, and we've fed the end in. It's just sort of, it's not far in. We've popped the inner part out because you can see that's sealed off at that end. So we've had to give it the snip. You know, the snip, it's a little vasectomy going on here. All right, so we've given it the snip, just a little hole there. I'm going to work on it a bit more just to give you an idea. We're just going to make a hole just big enough to push that bit of coax through and out there. Once it comes through, we put a hand around here, gently pull it through, and then we refit all these grommets back in place. Make sure they're back in 100%. Right, so that's what we're doing now. So there he is, he's poking his little head out. Looks like it's a boy. Yeah, we've got to grab him and pull him through gently. There it is, so there's our end. And you can see we didn't butcher it up, make a big hole, just a little slit and the rubber still. We didn't even take anything away. So if we ever remove it, that flap will just close over and it'll be basically sealed. Nothing's ever going to get up that matters that much up here anyway. But yeah, technically it's sealed, so bada bing. You could even put a bit of silicone on if you ever took it out. But hey, who would be crazy enough to take it out? So there's our wire sitting there. I'm not saying we're finished with that yet. There's our loom, it's all sitting, you can see the wire goes in there, comes out there. At the moment I've just got it all pulled through, sitting on the whatever. We'll sort that out after step by step. What we need to do now is get this grommet back in, so we're going to do that. Refit both ends of the grommet, then work out our lengths here, secure that so that we're happy, maybe a zip tie like that, something along those lines. And then we'll just leave our wire here for now, and we'll talk about, it may not be in this video, but there might be some other stuff. I don't know yet. Let's see. Check. Just make sure when you refit these, they're 100%. Just give them a feel from both ends and a twist, and there's a little lip that could be not in properly. Just make sure both ends, Mickey Mouse, and you can see still plenty of room in there for more wires. See, information. Some people are going, how much room's in that loom? There's stacks. It's about half full still. So you could actually use this as a step-by-step guide, hey? Anyway, so what we've done, we've got our length to what we're happy with, you know, each side of there. That's fairly tight across there, a little bit of space, but no point wasting wire. There's not going to be any movement there. We've got a zip tie there, nice and neatly cut off so it's not sharp with those special cutters. What do you call them? You know what I mean. Trims are all clipped in neatly and clean, of course. Seals all clean, other than a bit of fluff. The wire, you know, as I said, it came in. We just tucked it on, brought it down along the trim and tucked it down. It's just coming out there at the moment. You can see it all there. We'll just tuck it on the edge of the trim and under the seat, and it'll go wherever we need it, depending what radio you're running. You need to check your antenna coax length. If you want to know what antenna this is, to know the length, to know that it was long enough and how far it went, it reaches up past the front of the handbrake, so you could mount a remote unit or something anywhere around the console. I know people that put the brain under the seat, and they've got the microphone because it's got the long lead coming up under the console to the front. There's lots of different ways to do things. I don't know the part number of the antenna, but keep an eye on all the videos and you'll pick up these things. If you search Oricom antenna, 150 Prater, things like that on our YouTube channels, hopefully you'll find the part number if you wanted to use one of those to know the length is right. 4.5 meters rings a bell. Yeah, it's pretty long, isn't it? Might have been 4 or 4.5, somewhere around there. I should have measured it before I put it on. Too late now. It's in there. So that's all fitted in. All the trims are back on. We've still got to put the screw in, of course, which we'll get to that in a minute. Then we're going to refit this plastic cover. There's no reason why we need to be in here anymore. So then we're going to put the trim back on, and then we'll go on the outside and fit up a couple. There's a couple of clamps that came with a K-on bracket for that coax out there, I think. Once the screw's in, that just pushes back on in that position, 3 to 9 o'clock. Whatever you want to look at, left, right. Plastic back on. You don't want any problems, just stick it back on nice and neatly, just how it was factory, so it's all sealed up. Happy days, right? Trim goes back on now. Wish me luck. Really easy getting it back on. I haven't clipped it in yet, but I just wanted to recap. So what you basically do, you're hooking this part here down in underneath and sort of pressing the top section to clip it onto the bottom section, right? Same over here. This one's not fully in yet, but literally, see what I mean? Once it's all in place, that keeps just popping out, that one, but because there's a couple of clips. This side's clipped. This side is just popping out because it's not in a happy position yet. So I'm just going to gently let that go and go and pop the rest of these clips in, and it'll be happy days. So on this mod number 14, on the rig build for the battery, couple of things. Well, you know, when you're done, you clean all the dust off from the dirty carpet that you put it on. But that aside, what I wanted to say, there's a couple of things I did forget to mention, right? So but both sides at the top of the trim, right? Up behind here, there's a clip that you pop out when you remove it. What you need to do is remove the little clip out of the metal of the door, and it may fall in, so you may have to take the plastic off and fish it out. And you need to fit that to the plastic clips on the inside of this trim up about here. And then when you hook the trim onto those, you've got to make sure you don't push them until you're ready, because if they pop in, then you'll have difficulty or won't be able to get this trim on the way I do it. I don't know if it's the right way, but I like those clips out. So you've got to carefully hook your trim on here. This sort of hooks behind it. Is a little bit awkward. And then once it's all straight and flush, they pop in. So, and then you put obviously your screw in here, your screw in there, your bolt in there, your tools back on. And that pretty well completes this video. That's fit the antenna, mod number 14. And of course you can use the same procedures for removing the trim and to get into that wiring, duct, loom, whatever you want to call it, and run your wires to wherever you want. At the moment you can see we've just got it coming out at the side of the trim there, and we'll sort the rest of that out later. That's just connecting to the UHF. That's fit the Oricom antenna on the K-on bracket. Done. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Hit the like button. Hope you learnt something. Make sure you subscribed on both channels, because sometimes I don't know which channel to put it on. Next mod will be, I think now that we've finished taking the trim off, we can fit the rear door cage and the table. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you soon.